Hey guys, if you haven't already noticed, it's not business as usual when it comes to immigration here in the US, especially with the new administration. Some of the people who are affected are green card holders, especially when it comes to travel. In today's video, we're going to talk about 4 reasons why you could be detained at the port of entry when you're trying to come back to the US from your visit overseas, or you can be denied re-entry. Obviously, having a green card, you have freedom to travel in and out of the country as you wish, but there are some restrictions that come with the green card. A green card is not the same as US citizenship. Green card / permanent residence is not equivalent to US citizenship. So it's important to know what restrictions come with the green card itself. For example, the first thing that can make you be detained at the airport when you're trying to come back to the US after traveling overseas could be if you have overstayed your visit outside the US. Let's say, for example, myself, let's say I was a green card holder, I traveled back to Kenya, I stay there for over 6 months. When I'm trying to come back, I will have to explain myself. Why did I stay that long? Is the US really my permanent residence, or am I giving up the US as a permanent residence for me? Why am I going back to Kenya and staying for that long? In that case, I will have to prove that I still have ties to the US. And that's the second reason why you can be detained or questioned, put in secondary inspection, which can take hours and which can be very inconveniencing. You have to explain yourself. Why were you outside the US for that long? Is the US really your permanent resident? What proof do you have that you are still a permanent resident of the US? So in that case, what should you provide? It's recommended that you have paperwork to prove that you are still a resident of the US, preferably a active or valid driver's license, some kind of bank account, which is also active, some kind of a bill showing that you've been making payments if you have a lease or if you have a mortgage, some kind of something, a pay slip showing that you're still employed, a recent one. Things like that can help you get out of a jam when you're trying to come back to the US. If, for example, you overstayed your visit more than 6 months because of an inevitable reason, you have to prove what that is. For example, if you had a family emergency, or let's say, for example, you had a family member who was sick and maybe it was end of life and you wanted to spend time with them longer, and maybe they passed away and you stayed for the funeral, then you have to prove that. For example, when I went to Kenya for my dad's funeral, I just, in case, I had my dad's obituary copy of that in my wallet, just in case they asked. I didn't stay for over 6 months, but at that time, you never know what you're going to encounter when you're trying to come back to the US when you're a green card holder. The other thing that can make you be detained or put in secondary inspection or even denied re-entry is criminal history, or if you have a criminal record. Obviously, they will not allow you back in. You'll be investigated. You might be detained for a while, or you might have to go through the legal proceedings, and they might determine whether or not you're still eligible to continue having the green card or not. So there's something called re-entry. When you know that you're going to be outside the US for a very long time, longer than 6 months or longer than a year or longer than stipulated on your guidelines for the green card, make sure that you apply for re-entry. You have to apply for that while you're in the US before you travel. You can pick that up at your consulate in your country. For example, in Kenya, you can pick it up there, but you can't apply for it after you've left. You have to apply for it prior to leaving the US. If you know you're going to be out of the country for prolonged periods of time, maybe over 1 year, up to 2 years, you can apply for that. I believe it's costly. It's not free anymore. I think it used to be free. I'm not an immigration attorney, but you can look this up on the U.S. immigration website. This information is out for public knowledge. So if you have a green card, you are free to travel. You can travel in and out of the country as you wish. The biggest thing to remember is not to overstay. Don't overstay. You have to show that the US is your primary residence, and you're not giving up your residence. Unless you willingly give up your green card, and then in that case, you won't be allowed to come back in. But if you just because you didn't follow the guidelines, you didn't follow the instructions attached to the green card, then you will have to face a lot of questioning. It's very inconveniencing. It could lead to delay in your travels. You will have to book another flight or reschedule your travel plans and things like that. So if you don't have sufficient proof of ties to the US, then they will be thinking that maybe you're giving up your residency and you're not really interested in being a green card holder, and they might take that away from you, or they might put you through proceedings to determine whether or not you're still eligible for that green card. So you should have legitimate reasons for overstaying. If you have to overstay, make sure you have proof of that when you're coming back. Do not let your US driver's license expire. Make sure it's valid when you're traveling in and out of the US. Keep that stuff valid with the most current address. Tax returns can play a big role to show that you still have ties to the US. Show your tax returns, your W-2s, and to show that you still file taxes. Another thing that you can do is maybe get a letter from your job saying that you're on PTO or something like that, and have that in your purse somewhere in your personal belongings when you're traveling in and out of the country, because things are not the same as they used to be before. I know green card holders can travel, like I keep saying, freely, but you never know nowadays. You cannot be over prepared. It's better to be prepared and to have all these things and then you don't need them, because obviously it depends on the Customs Border Patrol officers, CBPs. You can find a good one that won't bother you with all these questions, or you can find one that will just make your life miserable. It is always good to be over prepared. You better bring your documents, have your driver's license, have some kind of mail showing your address, have something in your personal belongings when you're like in your carry-on or in your personal items that you take in the plane, that you can show that you still have the US as your permanent residence, so that you don't get detained, so that you're not unnecessarily questioned, so you're not put in secondary inspection. So those are some of the reasons why you can be detained when you're coming back to the US from traveling overseas. If you have experienced any of this at the port of entry lately and in the US, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, share this video. We'll see you in the next video.